The Paul Skenes trade rumors have gotten out of control, so much so that Ben Cherington even had to come out and say, no, we are not trading Paul Skenes. That being said, it's led to some pretty interesting articles written on the internet. Shout out to Bleacher Report, they're always out here giving me content with their articles. Zach Reimer of Bleacher Report came up with a bunch of trade proposals for Paul Skenes in a theoretical trade that he thinks might work, so I'm going to go ahead and read those trade proposals, give you my thoughts and opinions, and tell you whether I agree or disagree with them. If you want to check out the article for yourself, link is in the description, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more baseball content. All right, so we're cooking up Paul Skenes blockbuster trade packages amidst the Pirates trade struggles. They've been horrible. I mean, everybody agrees. I think that it's a waste to have Paul Skenes on this team because they're just not using him to his fullest ability. They're not building around him right now. Why have one of the best pitchers in baseball, not just the best young pitcher, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and not make a conscious effort to build a winning baseball team? I know that they were super far away this year. There's a lot of things that they would have had to have done to be better, but the fact of the matter is the Pirates made almost no moves this offseason, have a horrendous lineup, a terrible bullpen. There's not much good going on in Pittsburgh. Let's see what these Paul Skenes trades could possibly be. What is Paul Skenes' trade value? He talks about how he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. We're just going to skip by that. Honorable mentions, okay. Guardians and Twins. I don't know, maybe. I don't really see either of those teams. I think the Twins, at least with like Walker Jenkins and Emmanuel Rodriguez, could be more interesting. I don't know if the Guardians really have that prospect package. I guess it would be like Jason Chorio and Travis Bazzana and a couple other guys. I don't know. I'm a little out on that. Mets and Yankees. He says they don't have a top prospect, an elite guy, and I agree. I don't think the Mets or Yankees, especially the Yankees, I don't think they could go out and get a Paul Skenes, and I really don't think, while the Mets have a much better farm system, have the opportunity to trade because they just don't have that top-end guy. The Rangers, I guess because of Sebastian Walcott, that may be interested. I don't think Kumar Rocker, I don't think Jack Leiter would be guys that the Pirates would be clamoring over, especially because they just have a better, younger pitcher in Paul Skenes. But again, these are honorable mentions. Let's not pay too much attention to it. Okay, first and foremost, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers get Paul Skenes, and the Pirates get Josue DePaula, Dalton Rushing, and Alex Freeland. Okay, first and foremost, not enough. Not nearly enough for a guy like Paul Skenes. Again, I'm going to repeat this over and over again in this video. I have a feeling this is not one of the best young pitchers in Major League Baseball. This is one of the top 5 best pitchers in the league at this exact moment, and he's absolutely free on that rookie contract. He's not going to cost money for a few years. Paul Skenes is disgustingly good. He automatically takes your rotation and makes it so much better. The Pirates are going to get a lot more back than they're getting here in this trade. Josue DePaula is an awesome young prospect in the Dodgers system. If you've watched any of my prospect videos, I'm always glowing about how well I think Josue DePaula is going to be as a professional player at the Major League level in the future. I think the ceiling is unbelievably high on him. He's going to be one of the top prospects in baseball. Dalton Rushing, I think, is a great player, but I don't think the Pirates would be looking for a Major League catcher right now, considering they have like 30 options. Joey Bart, Endy Rodriguez, Henry Davis. There's no way that Dalton Rushing has as much value to the Pittsburgh Pirates as he would to another team. I love Rushing as a player. The dude absolutely mashes, and he might be one of the 15 best catchers in Major League Baseball right now, but you're not trading Paul Skenes for him. Also, he's older than Paul Skenes. I think the Pirates, if anything, are going to want to get younger. If you trade Skenes, this is for a rebuilding mode. This is to get better 5 years from now, not to get better and have Major League players at this exact moment. Or if you are, they're going to be big impact guys. And then Alex Freeland, again, is a prospect that I like in the Dodger system, but he is a high floor, low ceiling guy right now. I don't see him being a multiple time All-Star in the future. He might be, but as of what we've seen, it's just not the most enticing package back for a guy like Paul Skenes. The Dodgers would have to include a Zaire Hope. They would have to include probably an Andy Paez. You'd probably even have to include maybe even Roki Sasaki. I think if you went to the Pirates and you said Roki Sasaki, Andy Paez, Josue DePaula, and then maybe either one of Zaire Hope or Jackson Ferris, I think that is a package that the Pirates would legitimately consider. You are getting 2 guys right now that are young in Paez and Sasaki, who will be very good Major League Baseball players. I know Sasaki struggled, but I think the Dodgers would also very much be willing to give up this package. I know Paez has been playing great, but we know that farm system can churn. They would be willing to make these moves for a guy like Paul Skenes, who comes in and completely changes this Dodgers rotation. And I think if you're the Pirates, a Sasaki, a Paez, a DePaula, a Zaire Hope, maybe even a Ferris, those are enticing names. Those are things that get you excited. I think that's more likely of a trade rather than what he's saying. He says why it doesn't work as bad as the Dodgers have had it with their rotation thus far. Remaining patient is far less complicated than convincing the Pirates to part with Skenes. And that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Pirates are enticed to trade Skenes. We've heard from Ben Cherington, but that being said, I don't think that package is very good. I think there needs to be more. San Diego Padres up next. I don't think they have the package. Let's see what he says. Skenes for Leo DeVries, Ethan Salas, Cash Mayfield. Absolutely not. There is no world, there's no planet where the Pirates would ever make this trade. Now listen, Leo DeVries is a special player. He seems like someone who is going to be a top talent for many years to come. He's 18 years old. He was 17 last year, dominating the minor leagues at such a young age. The ceiling is ridiculously high on him. He is one of the best prospects in Major League Baseball right now. Ethan Salas, I know people are higher than I am, but again, I don't think the Pirates are going to want a catcher, especially one who has struggled at the minor league level. I know he's young, and I know he's a great defender. You're hoping the bat eventually comes, but until we see it, I don't think Ethan Salas carries the value that a lot of people think he does. It feels like the classic Padres, let's promote a young player early so that we can get some hype around him and then trade him, which that's probably what they should do. Again, don't mean to be an Ethan Salas hater, but he just hasn't hit at all ever in the minors. And then Cash Mayfield, first round pick this past year in the draft. He's a good pitcher, but again, I don't think the Pirates would be willing to give up one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball right now who is free for a young shortstop in A-ball who, again, is a top prospect, and then two guys who are still relatively question marks. Like, I think DeVries is a home run. The rest of them, I think, are questionable. They still have time to develop. They still have so much behind them. But for Paul Skenes, no way. You could get so much more. I'd be honest and say I think the Pirates would be like, we want Jackson Merrill. I don't think the Padres should necessarily do that, but I think that's where the value lines up right now. Not all these super young guys who are unproven. And I'm at least glad that he acknowledges that Mayfield's not a top 100 prospect material. Salas' stock's dropped. It's just, it doesn't make sense for the Pirates to take that trade. If the Padres had that ability to make that trade right now, they would make it 100 out of 100 times. They'd become a World Series favorite right now if they traded those three guys for Paul Skenes. Philadelphia Phillies up next. Okay, Phillies have an interesting farm system. I like a lot of their players right now. They, of course, will get Paul Skenes. The Pirates will get Andrew Painter, Aiden Miller, and Mick Abel. Yeah, no. First off, Andrew Painter, I think, is going to be awesome, but we have to address the elephant in the room. There are injury concerns with Andrew Painter, and he hasn't been the most dominant version of himself at AAA. He's coming back from major injury. That being said, I still think he's going to be a frontline starter for years and years to come. I don't think that him and Mick Abel are enough to get it done along with Aiden Miller for Paul Skenes. I think it would have to be like Painter, Mick Abel, Justin Crawford, maybe an Eduardo Tait if you want to go with a young guy. I know he's another catcher, but he's so young and shown us some crazy stuff thus far. Aiden Miller's really good. Mick Abel looked awesome in his debut. But again, where does this make the Pirates better? You're trading for an injury guy who's about the same age as Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes is already one of the best pitchers in baseball. Similarly to Mick Abel, Paul Skenes is already the best pitcher in baseball. This is a depth play, and I feel like if you're going for a depth play, you're going to want much more. I'm noticing we're only picking 3 players as well. Is this going to be a theme? We can do more than 3 players in a trade. This isn't MLB The Show where you get limited in the slots. We can give up more for Paul Skenes. I don't think there's really any scenario where only 3 players will get you Paul Skenes. Let's see why he says it doesn't work. If anything, this deal would work better for the Pirates than with the Phillies. No, stop. Even setting aside the fact that they don't need pitching, there's a question of whether swapping out Painter for Skenes would be robbing Peter to pay Paul. Are we losing the plot? Paul Skenes is one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. Andrew Painter could be there, but he's not just yet. Oh my goodness. What are we talking about here? The Phillies would make this trade, by the way, 100 out of 100 times. This is not debating whether or not it's better for the Pirates or Phillies. This is clearly better for the Phillies again. What are we saying? All right. Now we got the Chicago Cubs, an in-division rival. I mean, I'm seeing Matt Shaw here. Matt Shaw does not have the value that I think this guy thinks it does, but let's see. Cubs get Paul Skenes. The Pirates get Matt Shaw, Cade Horton, and Owen Casey. Nope. No, no, this is not the trade that it would get it done. Matt Shaw, I think, still will be a very good Major League Baseball player, but we saw at the Major League level, he got exposed. He did not have the numbers that we saw in the minors, and a big reason was mechanically, fundamentally, his swing is not as repeatable and not as easy to have great success with at the Major League level because of the increased velo, because of the better movement, because this is Major League Baseball. He's making adjustments. I think he's going to have a nice Major League career, but he doesn't have that same ceiling that we saw originally. Cade Horton, good pitcher, similar age to Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes is already so much better and doesn't have the injury history. Cade Horton looks great, but again, he's not Paul Skenes. This is the thing we have to keep bringing it back to, is this might sound like glazing of Paul Skenes, but he is so good. He is not getting traded for guys that are at similar levels and similar ages, but performing worse. And Owen Casey, while I like him, he's hit a bit of a snag at AAA this year. The ceiling's not as high. I think if the Pirates were interested in guys, you're going to be seeing much bigger names being thrown out. Like, I think we're talking about PCA being a name included. And I know that might sound crazy, but PCA still, I think, in this trade would make sense for both the Pirates and the Cubs. The Cubs have been trying to sign him long-term. He didn't take that contract. And as amazing as he has been, Paul Skenes completely changes the outlook of this roster. It's going to be hard to replace PCA, and I know this might sound insane, and you're going to scream at me in the comments, but I think the Pirates would want PCA back at minimum in a trade for Paul Skenes, and they'd probably be asking for more too. It'd probably be like PCA and Cade Horton. This is unprecedented. Paul Skenes being this good at this age, being so cheap, being so young. You don't see this too often. They're going to want a legendary haul back. We saw what the Nationals got for Juan Soto when they traded him. These are not even in the same realm, and we're talking about free young pitching, not a guy who's coming up on a contract in a couple seasons who's going to leave. That's the difference here, and the Nationals still got way more than is being proposed. All right. Next up, we've got the Detroit Tigers. They've got a loaded farm system right now. Let's see what he's got here. Paul Skenes for Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, and Tyrone Lorenzo. See, this one makes sense in terms of the top-tier prospects. Max Clark is a guy who is a freak athlete, dominating the minors right now, looking absolutely fantastic for the Tigers down there. He's a top 10 prospect in baseball. Check. Done. I agree. He would be in the trade. Kevin McGonigal, I also agree, would be in the trade. A middle infield prospect who's been one of the top prospects in baseball now for the last year and a half. A top 20 guy. Boom. Beautiful. Love it. Check. He's going to be in the trade. I still think the Pirates might ask for maybe a Jackson Jobe. I don't think that'd be out of the realm of possibility. I don't think that'd be crazy. I think a Bryce Rayner might be in the trade talks. So far, this is my favorite trade proposal that he's put thus far. I don't think Tyrone Lorenzo would really carry any weight, again, for a team and an organization that has so many catchers. Lorenzo's good. It's not a detriment to him. I'm not trying to talk badly on Tyrone Lorenzo. Clark, McGonigal, and a pitching prospect, or maybe even if it's Jackson Jobe, Max Clark, and a lesser guy, I think there's a mix there. The Tigers could definitely get this done, but again, we know this trade's not going to happen, and I think the Pirates probably still want a little bit more than the Tigers would be willing to give up right now. Part of the reason being Jackson Jobe, I think, probably has to be in this trade. All right, let's see the next one here. We've got the Baltimore Orioles. We know they have so many prospects. Let's see who they offer up. Paul Skenes for Grayson Rodriguez, Sam Basayo, and Kobe Mayo. Oh, we're so close. We're getting closer. This is better as well. Sam Basayo, one of the best prospects in baseball, absolutely mashes. I know catcher's listed. I know I've talked about the catcher issue. He's going to end up being a first baseman. I think that's where his home, that's where his calling will end up be. And I think in Pittsburgh, it would make a lot of sense for a guy like Sam Basayo on that roster. Young, almost ready to be at the major league level, and he's got ceiling for sure. Kobe Mayo definitely needs to just get some playing time. I'm a huge Kobe Mayo fan. What we've seen at the major league level so far in the small sample has not been very good, but it's hard when you're a young player who's been basically thrown into the lineup and expected to save this team like he has. Every time he's come up, it's been short. He hasn't gotten consistent playing time. I still believe in the Kobe Mayo profile as a hitter moving forward. Grayson Rodriguez scares me. I think he has value, but not nearly as much as being weighed in this trade. He's got mega injuries right now. Terrifying pitching prospect, or just straight up value in a pitcher right now because of those injuries. And Paul Skenes is just simply better than Grayson Rodriguez ever has been at the major league level. I think they might want a Jackson Holiday, and I think the Orioles would have to seriously consider it, again, because they have so many prospects. Jackson Holiday is playing incredible right now, but Paul Skenes might be a huge difference maker. Also, at the same time, the Orioles stink right now, so they might not be looking to trade any of these guys because they're like, uh-oh, we need to rebuild, even though Paul Skenes would be a part of it. I don't know, maybe they are. But the Orioles are in big trouble. Paul Skenes would help a lot. They have terrible pitching. Orioles would make this trade right now if that happens. I don't know if the Pirates would again. That's kind of where I'm landing, and I'm noticing we're only doing 3 players, which I don't particularly love. But whatever, hey, it's his article. Why it doesn't work? Frankly, it's hard to think a reason why the O's should not want to try for a Hail Mary like this. Agreed. Although Rodriguez is currently injured, this is a compelling proposal from Pittsburgh's side. Basayo and Mayo are well regarded because of their power, and the Bucks ought to covet power amid a season in which they've only hit 33 homers. You do have points there. I think Grayson Rodriguez is the iffy part there, and they still might want maybe a Jackson Holiday, maybe a Colton Cowser. I'm telling you, I don't think the Orioles would consider that too insane. And then last, the Boston Red Sox. I'm seeing Marcelo Meyer. So are we going to say Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and then like a pitching prospect? Let's see. We've got Roman Anthony, Franklin Arias, and Luis Perales for Paul Skenes. Yeah, this is by far the best one that has been put out there thus far. I'm obviously a huge Roman Anthony fan. If you've heard me talk about him on this channel, I think he's the best prospect in baseball. I can't believe he's not at the major league level just yet. He is way too good for AAA. The exit velos, everything is out of control for Roman Anthony. He is going to be a future multiple-time All-Star, a possible MVP candidate if he keeps it up like we've seen so far in his young career. I'm massive on Roman Anthony. This is the best player mentioned in this entire article right now. And the Pirates see Roman Anthony right now and they go, "Ooh, okay, we're listening. Franklin Arias, he's going to be the next Christian Campbell type prospect where working on the bat speed, the numbers were already good. The bat-to-ball skills were already incredible. The bat speed's going to help with power. He plays middle infield. He plays it well." Big Franklin Arias fan. He's been smoking the ball in minor leagues. Luis Perales is throwing 100 miles an hour. He's got a 4-pitch mix, a 6 splitter. He's dominating the minors right now. He's one of these super high helium pitching prospects right now. This is by far the best proposal. I still think the Pirates want more. They might just be like, hey, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and some lower end pitching prospect that we like the stuff of. But this is by far, I think, the best trade offer that's been put out there. And I genuinely consider if the Red Sox would go more all in than this. If you ask for more, they might be afraid of that because Roman Anthony is going to be so good, and Franklin Arias is going to be so good. The Red Sox are in an interesting spot where they want to win now, but maybe you can give up less and get a really good pitcher still. Not the level of Paul Skenes, but maybe somebody else on the trade market when we get to the trade deadline. I want to see why he says it doesn't work. Red Sox presumably don't want to part with Anthony. Yeah, I kind of get that. I definitely agree. You don't want to get rid of one of your top young prospects like this who has the ability to be an MVP caliber player along with other guys when you might be able to get some more pitching help, which they definitely need for a cheaper price. Okay, I mean, listen, there were some in here that were absolutely insane. There were some in here that I liked, kind of what you expect from a Bleacher Report article. Shout out Zach Reimer for writing this. If I didn't have this article, I wouldn't have content today. So make sure you click the link in the description, go give him a click, help him out, get him some views on that article, again, for helping me get some content as well today. Remember to drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know, should the Pirates trade Paul Skenes? And if so, what do you think is the best trade package they could get? And follow me on all my social media, GiraffeNeckMarc, links are in the description. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you all on the next video. Bye.